Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2007 Westmont State of the Village Address. The address today is being presented by someone truly who does not require introduction in this village, which is never an easy situation for someone that is expected to introduce a speaker as great as our mayor. Before this event, I reviewed our mayor's bio, and here's what I discovered. Mayor Ron is a lifelong resident of Westmont. Mayor Ron and his wife Jill, who is a preschool teacher and has raised 3 outstanding children here in Westmont. Peter, who is a Marquette University graduate and a physical therapist. Heidi, who is a University of Illinois graduate and currently a laboratory manager at Loyola Medical Center. And Danka, who is currently in her sophomore year at Marquette. And all 3 of his children are all graduates of the Westmont High School. Mayor Ron's 35-year career as an educator, which I'm sure has a positive impact on the life of his students. Mayor Ron's involvement in the community groups include the Lions Club, Rotary Club, Westmont Historical Society, and is a very strong supporter of the Westmont Chamber of Commerce. Mayor Ron's public service includes serving on local commissions, committees, and has been a former trustee and has been serving as our mayor since 1999. I'd like to introduce our Honorable Mayor, William Ron. Please recognize him with a warm welcome. Westmont, welcome. Thank you.
Could I take this off?
Excuse me.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's great to see such a great turnout for the annual address of the Village of Westmont, which I am very proud to present to our village each year. To begin with, I'd like to thank Larry Forsberg, the executive director of our chamber, Frank Brady, and the entire chamber board for the invitation to be here to speak before you today. It was Larry's idea to combine both the Grape Restaurant and Amber to have the meal served here. And didn't they serve us a great meal? Let's give a round of applause. Now, to give a quick plug for the Grape Restaurant is that they have just begun to be open every day, Monday through Friday, for lunch. So please feel free to come in here with your friends. I always say, we who live here in Westmont, we who have a business here in Westmont, have to support our local businesses here in Westmont. And we all need to work as hard as we can to do that. So the Grape is open for lunch, but Amber is now closed for lunch. They are no longer serving lunch. So instead of trying to go to Amber, we need to come to Grape for lunch during the week. And Bronco, the manager of Amber said that starting next Monday, they're going to be open for early bird dinners from 4:30 till 6. It'll be a 3-course meal at a special price, I think, of $25. So I'm sure that will help to bring out more business for Amber. So I just want to thank both of them for putting this together and such a great luncheon for today. All of the elected officials that are here, to my knowledge, have been introduced, but there's just a few other individuals that I'd like to introduce. There are so many important people here. If I introduced everyone, I think it would include all of you. But I'm sure some of you will notice that our village manager, Ron Searle, is missing. He is at home recovering from hip surgery and doing quite well. He told me yesterday or last night on the phone that he would like to come to our village board meeting tomorrow night, but I don't think it's time yet, since he had his operation on less than 4 or 5 days ago to come to any meetings at the village. So in his place, we will have our Economic Development Director, Fred Kimball, who I would like to introduce at this time, will be standing in for Ron Searle at our meeting tomorrow evening. Then there's Kathy Casey was here, who's our Director of Human Resources. Is she still here? They're Kathy and her assistant, Claire Gibbs, who takes all the phone messages and relays everything to me that comes to the village. So welcome to both of you. And let's see, who else did we miss? Steve May, who was our Director of Public Works, and Shannon Malik, who is our village planner. Shannon is over here to my left. And I think that'll about do it for introductions. And we'll get right into the program. What I'd like to do, as I've done in the past, is just kind of give you a summary of the projects that are either have been completed or in the state of being completed in the village, and then give time at the end for any questions that any of you might have. And I would also, at the end, if I don't go too long, like to make a few comments regarding home rule. First, starting at the north end, we've just finished a big project up at the Mays Lake Village. They tore down one of their older buildings and just moved into the new facility. This is accomplished through grants from state and federal, and we try to assist them as a village as much as we can. But it's a wonderful senior citizen resident in our village, and we try to work with them as best we can. We also have a lot of progress this year, continued progress at Oak Brook Hills. And I don't know if Dan Gustafson, are you still here? The general manager at Oak Brook Hills. Now that Marriott has taken over the hotel, the amount of sales tax revenue, hotel motel revenue that we get as a village is just going up and up. And Dan, we thank you for all of your work. And now that Marriott promotes the hotel, I'm sure nationally and internationally, it's just helped tremendously. I know I talked to him several months ago, and they were on the beginning of the summer, and one night during the summer, I think they had 6 or 7 different weddings scheduled for Oak Brook Hills. So congratulations and keep up the good work. Then also in that area, we have the Oak Brook Hills condos, which are the last parcel to be developed as part of the Oak Brook Hills initial construction. And they are doing well because of the economy. They're selling a little slower, but they've got a beautiful location on the golf course, and they are selling. Then if we jump over to Pasquinelli Drive, we've got the Chicago Prostrate Center, which has been very successful, but they've also been working through Dr. Moran to help bring in more of a medical cluster to our village in that area. And they are now going to be, the Hinsdale Orthopedics is going to have a location out there, and also they're going to be putting in a gastric bypass facility. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but what it is bringing more people into the village and providing more people that come in mostly for day surgery. So it's bringing more business to our restaurants and also to the hotels, particularly Oak Brook Hills in that area, the Clubhouse Inn, and Homestead Suites. So that area is definitely alive and popping. About a month ago, I think most of you are aware of Papado's restaurant. But a year ago and about a month ago, I got an email that a helicopter had landed in the parking lot at Papado's restaurant around noontime. Not exactly according to law as it exists in the village of Westmont. Last year they got away with it. This year our police department, thanks to our chief, caught them and warned them not to be landing helicopters in the parking lots of the hotels and restaurants in the village of Westmont. Moving down to Ogden Avenue. I'm sure most of you have seen the new Lexus expansion project. They've taken over the strip mall to the east of them. And when they get finished, this will be, according to Fred Kimball, who provided a lot of the information with his staff for me, will be about a $4 million project and will double the size of McGrath Lexus. They have also purchased the property that was formerly the Chevrolet dealership on Route 83. So once they get their new project finished, We don't know whether they're going to bring in, we could have a new car dealership at that property on Route 83, or it could be developed, and we've had interest in possibly putting a hotel or other retail businesses at that location once McGrath. It'll be up to their choice to decide what they're going to do with that property. Then we have completion of the Ogden Lincoln Mercury dealership, and then next door, we hope by the first of the year, Ogden Chevrolet will be in operation. And then I get a lot of comments about our Lamborghini dealership, who had a wonderful open house when they first came into town, but one of our famous football players had a little incident with a Lamborghini, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, and people have been asking me, Bill, did he buy that Lamborghini in Westmont? So I checked and found out he did not buy that Lamborghini in Westmont. I'm not sure where it came from. Then the last thing I'd like to mention on Ogden Avenue is the Four Seasons sunroom expansion. I was not able to attend that grand opening, but because we were on vacation, but they're a welcome addition on Ogden as well. Sales tax revenue, while I'm talking about car dealers, last year they brought in approximately $4.5 million in sales tax revenue from the car dealers. Ron Searle informs me that for last year, our total sales tax revenue approximates $7 million, and he's hoping that by the end of this year, the prediction is that we'll be close to $8 million in sales tax revenue with car sales, restaurants, all of the retail businesses in the village of Westmont. So we're slowly, the economy is coming back, and we want to do all we can to help all of the businesses in the village of Westmont. Downtown Westmont, we have at 232 North Cass. It's a brand new building on the west side, close to C&C Vacuum. There's Logo Pro, which is an advertising and PR firm, and they have their offices on the second floor of that new building. The first floor, if you haven't seen it already, it's the Lindley Design Studio. They've got a beautiful canopy out in front. They've just recently opened, and we have to go up and visit. It's the top-notch interior decorating store that's supposed to be just fabulous. Then we have at 31 North Cass, we have La Petite Suites is working on going into that location. However, they're having difficulties with the DuPage County Health Department, and as other people who have opened up, particularly restaurants in the village or anywhere in DuPage County, the county is extremely strict on their regulations, so it's very, very costly for any business, and especially a restaurant, to open and meet the regulations according to the DuPage County Health Department. But if they can manage to do that, they are going to be opening at that site. And I should mention that they are right next door in the vacant property, right next to Divine Wines. Then we have the Aria Flower Shop, which recently opened up north of Divine on the corner where the other flower shop was previously located. They have a wonderful fall Halloween decoration in their window. You really have to see it. And so that's another retail business that we all have to try to get out and support. Another big project going on that's been a big inconvenience to all of us is the South Cass Water Replacement Project. That water main is somewhere between 40 and 50 plus years old, so it's part of the infrastructure replacement program, and it's keeping Steve May on his toes, making sure that they keep the roadway open. They've got the main water main installed, and now they're starting to do the cross sections to make all of the connections. But Steve tells me that most of that project will be finished by the end of November, right, Steve? Middle of November. Oh, that's even better. Then at 29 to 31 North Cass, we have down in the basement the Universal Spa and Tanning Academy. And I just got an email that stated that on October 16th, from 6 to 9 p.m., they're going to have a grand opening, and part of the opening is they will be offering free of charge mini spa treatments. So put that on your calendar. And also, in conjunction with them, the Vine Wine is also doing a wine tasting that same night. So you can go to the spa and relax, and then come upstairs and enjoy a glass of wine. So that's another example of our businesses, like today with our luncheon, working together, trying to help each other. And we try to promote businesses working together as much as we can in the village. And the last thing I wanted to mention in that particular area is the La Dicia Cafe, which is a Mediterranean cafe. It's kind of set back to the east of Amber Restaurant on the corner. And I've been there several times for lunch, and they have a very, very good luncheon. So we wish them well, and we need to patronize them also. Now, if we go south, everyone, I'm sure, has seen the new Aldi's building, which is at 6415 South Cass. And we think did a wonderful job of developing that whole area, and is going to bring a lot of additional sales tax revenue. Just to the south of Aldi's, there's a vacant parcel, and we have already approved Discount Tire going into that location. So it'll be north of Oxford Bank and south of Aldi's, but that too will be a welcome addition, and once again, sales tax revenue for the village. Our new police chief and his staff have started a new program called Safe and Secure Westmont Code Enforcement Effort. One of the biggest goals of this project is to go after absentee landlords who have let their buildings deteriorate. So the staff, building and zoning, our police department and other departments are working together to go out and to make the owners of those buildings bring their buildings up to code. Now, before we had home rule, we could only enforce the exterior of the buildings and the common areas inside. But now that we have home rule, we can pass ordinances where the owners of all those buildings have to come in and register with the Village of Westmont so that we can get inside some of those buildings and to correct some of the code problems that they have. You have 4 flat buildings that have gone and converted to 5 flats, 6 flats that have converted to 7 flats, all without the village's permission, and we need to go in and correct that situation. And also, at the same time, they're working hard through our police department and staff to control problems that we have with drugs and other problems in that area. So my hat off to our new police chief, Jim Ramey, and his staff for helping to correct that situation. Because in my opinion, it wouldn't take too many incidents like this to affect the opinion that people form of the Village of Westmont. So that's very important for us to make sure that that is kept under control. Going down the line, we have the Mcnaughton Greenleaf townhouses, which are about 4 blocks east of Cass on 55th on the south side. And that is a new type of project that we've never had in the village, and it's called a zero lot line. So instead of building townhouses, these are all individual homes, only they're on smaller lots than we've ever allowed previously. But it's a planned unit development, and we think if you drive through there, there are lovely, lovely homes, and they are selling. At 515 to 517 East 63rd, we have Charleston Court condos, and we were a little concerned when we first started those to go up and the way they looked, but they finished the first phase. They're getting ready to start the second phase, and they're going to be also a welcome addition to that part of our community. That's east on 63rd Street. Then west, we have the proposed Bellerive Terrace condos, 307 to 325 West 63rd. That's probably won't be anything happening over there. Maybe next spring before they get all their engineering and approvals. It's going to be a very complicated project, and hopefully by then the economy will start picking up and sales will improve. And we have next recently approved, it's going to be about a $20 million project, improvements for the Twin Lake Towers. And those are all apartments, but they're going to be putting in a new recreation center, a recreation center, a swimming pool. They're going to redo all of the units, and they're also going to put in a series of garages to make the area more, to upgrade the whole area and also increase all their rents of their units accordingly. So we think that'll be a big improvement to the village. Transit-oriented design. For those of you that are not aware, we're trying to redevelop our downtown so that we have more residential components closer to the train station and also closer to the restaurants and our specialty shops downtown. And going along with that is the rezoning that we've done on East Quincy Street. And that rezoning did not include Bales Hardware, because we don't know what we would do without Bales Hardware and all the individual needs all of us have in keeping our homes in repair. But the rest of the area has been zoned R4 for multiple. The businesses that are presently located there can stay there in perpetuity. However, once they leave and they want to, if a similar business wants to go in, they can. But once they change the type of business, then they cannot do that anymore, because it will at that time revert over to residential zoning. So we don't know when. There is nothing that I'm aware of right now in terms of any redevelopment in that area. Then at 134 West Quincy, we have the Quincy Street Station condos. And I understand that the model is going to be available in about 3 weeks, and they're hoping towards the end of November to have units for sale. And that, we feel, is going to be a very lovely project for downtown residential development. Then we go to 310 and 314. There are several new duplexes that have been constructed that are on the market presently. And then at 330 South Cass, kind of at the top of the hill before 55th, there are also 2 more duplexes that are being constructed that will, the way they're going, looks like they will be completed around the first of the year as well. We now have a downtown pedestrian crossing in the middle of the block, close to Divine, Vincitori, Restaurant Amber, to facilitate people being able to cross the street easier in downtown. They don't have or will not have the lighting in the surface of the pavement like we have south of the tracks, but I would like to see that type of a lighting installed at that location, so it will permit our business people and residents to cross easier in downtown Cass to visit our restaurants and shops. Let's see, then we get to 408 and 408 to 414 North Cass. We're going to have, we've approved 2 16-unit condo development projects. That will be about 2 to 3 blocks north of Naperville on Cass on the west side. And we're hoping that will start movement in the spring of next year. Then Westmont also has the downtown parking study in conjunction with our comprehensive plan to see what the needs are going to be in the future for the possibility of having a downtown garage parking area. People are in favor of a parking garage and asking and mentioning to us we need this. Other people think it's something that we don't need. So that's why we're conducting the study to try to plan as best we can for the future. 6 years ago, 8 o'clock at night, you go down Cass Avenue and it would be deserted. Now, 6, 7 o'clock at night, all the parking spaces in the parking garages are usually filled up every night. And sometimes Bronco from Amber likes to complain, Bill, what are we going to do about getting more parking downtown? So what a great problem to have, but we have to get that in our future plan as to how best handle that to accommodate new business in the future. Future development opportunities. The intersection of Naperville Road and Cass, we have had developers that are interested in and have talked to the owners on several of the corners as far as putting in new developments, redeveloping those corners. But it's something that we as a village cannot force, and when somebody's asking an exorbitant amount of money for their business, it prohibits the total project from moving ahead, because in many instances you've got 2, 3, 4 different individuals that all have to agree to go into a project together. So we think within the not too distant future we will see some redevelopment on that in that area. And next is an area that has been somewhat controversial, and that is the Merrigan Plaza, which is at the southwest corner of Cass and Quincy. And there have been proposals submitted to the village for redevelopment of that property. We don't have anything that has come forth in terms of total development, but they're coming up with different plans, and the plans are yet to be developed, but they may also include not only the park, but also the house on Cass south of the park, and also there's an apartment building to the south of that. And that area has been, and may come out of our comprehensive parking study as a possibility of putting a parking garage where you have retail on the first floor and then maybe 2 floors of parking. But the way you can design it is when you drive by, you don't even know there's a parking lot in the upper floors. The whole building is designed to look like a residential and business building instead of a parking lot. And we go at downtown at 133, 143, and 151 South Cass. That would be the properties across the street from Uncle Bub's. They are all on the market for sale. Whether anyone that's interested in developing that will have to work with the owners of the property to work out the cost factors involved. And that is often very difficult, as I mentioned, to do. But in this situation, they're all owned by the same individuals, so perhaps that will, something will take place at that location sometime in the near future. Now we jump down to 63rd and Cass at the South Westmont Business District, which we formed about several years ago. And we have been in contact with a number of big box retailers. It's been somewhat controversial with some of the residents, but some of the businesses that have been in contact with us have been Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, and other retail developments as well. We have not yet zeroed in on any one particular business at this time, but hopefully the village has purchased 9.5 acres and put part of the strip mall together, the west end of that, and our parcel, and perhaps some of the AT&T property. This can all fall into place in the very near future. Another possibility, and we have our expert here from the College of DuPage, but there has been some interest from the College of DuPage having some classes at the Westmont Center. Now, whether we can work that out or not, we don't know. One of the problems there is the parking situation, but a lot of those classes are held in the evening, so once rush hour is over, there's a lot more parking close to downtown. And we have 9 to 11 West Quincy. That's the vacant building, several businesses east of the news agency. That has been on the market for rent or for sale. And we've not seen anyone go into that particular area. But I myself have thought, what a wonderful location. And I've talked to Fred and several other different people in the village. And I always liked the idea of having an Irish restaurant and an Irish pub, and that might be a location for something of that nature. But once again, we have the problem with an owner of the property whose rent or purchase price is too high for any business at this point in time. to be willing to expend that type of money to go into that location. So we get questions constantly, well, why isn't there a business going in? Well, we can't control how much the rent is per square foot or whether their selling price should be this or that, but hopefully those things will fall into place here soon. Then also, a couple of doors west of that, we have a proposal for a possible Seattle's Best coffee shop. That would be west of the news agency. Once again, somewhat controversial because we already have a coffee shop at that location. But if we have a business that wants to go into town and it's permitted by our codes, there's nothing that we can do to prevent that type of business going in. People have said, well, you can't let that go in. You've got to forbid that. Well, you can't. It's a free market, and if they want to open some of those types of businesses, and we have other situations which are the same, it's very difficult for us to say, well, no, yes, you can, or no, you can't go into that location. Then to the west of that first block on Quincy, we have a proposal for a bank to conceivably go into where the old butcher shop was located. Then I picked up the progress just before I left home to come here this morning, and now I just found out about it. There's a new antique shop that opened in another one of the shops right next to the news agency in that same block. So we are moving, and that area is constantly changing. So we are hopeful that it's all for the best in total for the village. Future challenges, the national real estate market. We are hoping, and the way economists are looking at it, that maybe in about a year, things will look a lot better in terms of our total real estate market. But just to give you an example, 2 years ago, we had 55 to 60 teardowns and new houses built in the village. Last year was a total of 28. So far this year, we only have 17 teardowns, so it's definitely slowing down over it was, but it's still moving ahead, and I think the properties in Westmont are still reasonable in cost, and people can still afford to buy and build homes in the village. Unrealistic local landlord expectations. As I mentioned, in some of the situation, the rents are too high for either commercial space or the price of the actual building is too high. We get questions, and we've done just about everything we can to try to get Richmond Station to move forth. That's the condominiums at that would be the northeast corner of Cass and Richmond. The owner of the building, in my opinion, has the retail space priced too high. Nobody's willing to pay the price that he's asking per square foot, and the same thing applies to the condominiums. He's too high over what he had originally said they were going to be selling for when they came on the market. Some of the units in the building are not completed. We've had the developer come into the village 2 or 3 times to see what we can do to help him move forward. But he is independently wealthy, and he moves at his own speed, and there's only so much that we can do as a village to force somebody to move ahead with their project. But it is something that Fred and his staff and all of us are keeping an eye on. Jim Devine, who owns the shopping center at 63rd and Cass, where we would like to see a big box retailer go in, is also a very difficult person to deal with. He has set a price which we feel is unrealistic for a portion of his shopping center, but he's a millionaire. He owns something like 27 different shopping strip malls around the Chicagoland area. So money is not, if he doesn't get his price, well, then he just holds on to it. I mean, that's a situation, again, where we don't have the control. We can't force him to change his price. So unless he can work out a deal with whoever wants to develop the property, things don't move forward like we would like to see at the village. And I touched on it just briefly, but I think in a village you're always going to have some downtown vacancies, and we we have that. Businesses come and businesses go, but I think overall the businesses that we have in our downtown area are doing very well, and we constantly have new businesses coming in and a few that are leaving every year. One of the problems that we face, and home rule will help us, is to meet some of the fiscal problems that are given to us by the county or by the state. Unfunded mandates. And one of the biggest areas that we have to deal with is the pension funds for our police and fire and all of the village staff. We are trying to control our tax base as best that we can, and we've been very, very cautious in expenditures over the past few years. However, we are still managing to move forth and be able to do improvement projects such as the new water main on Cass Avenue and repavements of our streets. Now, if I could, I would like to make a few, if you've got time, make a few comments on home rule, which has been somewhat of a controversial item as well. Several years ago, I formed, with the board's approval, a fiscal review ad hoc committee made up of residents of the village, people in our business community, to have them come in and open up the books of the village. They went to our departments and talked to our department heads, the village manager, Fred, and looked at all the sources of income that we have as a village and where all this money is going and how it's being spent. Well, when they got finished in January of 2006, one of their biggest recommendations was that we look at taking another census in the village. So last summer we had a special census taken, and now our population has gone from 24,554 to the official new population of 26,211 people, which brings us over 25,000, which automatically gives us home rule. Last week, it was October 2nd, we had a special meeting, and we had two experts come in to just give presentations, information on home rule and what it means and what it is. One was Larry Frang, who is the incoming executive director of the Illinois Municipal League, and the other was a gentleman by the name of Stuart Diamond, an attorney, a municipal attorney who is a top expert in municipal affairs across the state of Illinois. And they presented and answered questions that the board had, that anyone might have regarding home rule. What does it mean to the village to have home rule? Well, we figure staff has determined that it's going to mean approximately $250,000 a year for the maybe slightly less in additional revenue from the state, strictly because of the population count and the additional residents that will be counted in terms of the monies that we receive from the state. And I understand in talking with Ron and Steve May that we already begun to receive additional funding from the Illinois Department of Transportation because of the additional population. They contacted us and said, we're going to be giving you more money for your road and infrastructure projects here in the village. So that is very, very important to our the future of the village in terms of us keeping the tax rate as low as we can for our residents, and I'll get into that in just one minute. One of the big changes that home rule will mean is our utilization of home rule, our utilization of hotel motel tax. We've been restricted to have to use that money strictly for tourism, but with home rule we can now have the authorization to use those monies on infrastructure improvements within the village, as well as being used for promoting our village tourism. Percentage of communities in Illinois that have home rule. Presently, it's about 61% of the total communities have home rule in the state of Illinois. And if you add Cook County and Chicago, it brings it up to close to 70%. Another one of the benefits, which I've already covered, are the licensing of people who own apartment buildings and residences, so that we can not only license them, but we can control what's going on inside those buildings. Now, I'd like to make just one more comment, and that is that I went shopping last Saturday at Oakbrook Mall, and I walked into a store, and it happened to be Sears Roebuck, and this one clerk cornered me right away. "Mayor Ron, I need to talk to you. Come over here." So I walked over, and she said, "You know, I'm really disgusted with the high tax bill that I have in the village of Westmont. What are you going to do about that?" So I thought, well, this might be a good time to give a little information on where all the tax monies go to here in the village of Westmont. Tax rate history, just for the year of 2006, only 8.4% of our real estate tax bill went to the village of Westmont. 7.5% went to the county. The schools, whether it's District 201 or other schools that are part of the Westmont, just slightly short of 70% of the real estate tax bill. The other 15% is split approximately between the Park District, the Sanitary District, and the library. So from 2002 to 2006, we have consistently reduced the tax rate that the village of Westmont charges. However, the assessments on all of our properties are done by the county, and we don't have control over that, so we receive additional monies because of the value of our real estate going up. But in terms of the village itself, we have not raised our taxes and try to be as fiscally responsible as we can with the monies that we do receive. And in conclusion, I would just like to say that we are doing our best as a village to try to live up to our motto of being the progressive village. It's not always easy to meet all of the needs of everyone. Everyone has different needs, whether it's a resident or a business, but we try to work as best we can to keep our village moving forward. Westmont, as has been pointed out to me, and I'm sure as many of you notice, has become a destination. People are coming from our surrounding communities far away to visit our restaurants and our shops. And I think that's wonderful news for the village, and we're going to do as much as we can to help that continue. But we as residents, we as homeowners, as business people in the village, have to patronize our businesses in our village to keep them lively and to keep them making a profit, to keep them in operation. Our village staff, many of whom are represented here today, are trying their best to meet the needs of our community and continually try to improve the service provided to our village. So in conclusion, I would just like to once again say thank you to all of you for attending, and I hope the information that I presented will be informative for you. And with that, I will now take any questions that any of you might have concerning the village. And naturally, we have our village clerk with her hand up over here.
Well, I just wanted to add in the home rule section that we would be able to license more businesses, which we could then give a better accounting to the chamber. The
Okay.
state limits us right now, but once your home rule, we can license more, and then we can help the chamber. And then there are two gorgeous townhouses. Shannon helped me on West Burlington. They're absolutely beautiful. But just put it in the address. 310 and 314 that are gorgeous.
Okay.
People should just drive by and look at them. They're beautiful.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Tracy?
What's the status on Chicago Avenue? Did you guys sign up? Is it ours or is it some county?
I can't answer that question. It was ours before. Whether we've signed off again on completion, not yet.
So a long process, it'll take quite a while.
Okay. Has business improved since the road is completed? That too was a long involved project, but now it's over and it's beautiful, and it has solved a lot of the flooding and water problems that different businesses have had along that stretch of road in the community. Any other questions? Okay, well, I thank you for coming, and, oh, yes.
Questions actually. What were you buying the stairs that you couldn't buy downtown?
I bought a pair of shoes that were on sale, and I don't believe they sell shoes anywhere in Westmont that I'm aware of. But if you find a place, please let me know. Okay, good.
But seriously, with the code enforcement, especially by way of absentee ownerism, will that apply to commercial-based residential?
Yes. It will apply across the village. And it's always difficult situation when a business or an individual homeowner has left cars be abandoned in their driveway or has failed to maintain their property. To go in with code enforcement is not a pleasant thing to do. But if we want to continue to see the village progress and improvements, it's something that we have to do to bring all of our structures, whether they're residential or commercial, up to code in the village. And that's a very difficult, long process, but we're working our way through that. Thank you. Anything else, Barb? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, very good. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the great presentation. Also like to thank the TW Group for being a sponsor of luncheon today, and also thank the combined staff of the Amber and Grape restaurants. They did a great job today, and hopefully we can go to the restaurant. Also want to thank our staff of Louise, who did most of the work for us today and putting this together for us. Also like to mention that thank you.